I've been a wedding photographer for the last 13 years, which means that most of my Saturdays in the summertime are taken. So when my mom invited me to do a puzzle-thon at the local community art center on one of my only free Saturdays, I was hesitant. A few weeks earlier, I'd gotten married, and after months of planning, when the wedding was over, everything felt really amazing for the first few weeks, and then there was a hard crash. I admittedly felt the space where all that time had gone to planning, and instead of trying to fill it, I let it breathe and felt what was there instead. I have been attending the local community art center for the past year, which has been a great source for exploring different art mediums to keep my creativity flowing, along with a need for ongoing and consistent community I didn't know I needed. During the planning of the wedding and for a few weeks following, I stopped attending as much. Wedding season for my clients started, and I started isolating as I tend to do when I feel a little lost and unsure of what my next step is in the creative realm. So my mom invited me to do this puzzle, ended up with me saying, sure, why not? The idea was simple. 5 teams of 1 to 4 people would each have 6 hours to complete the chosen puzzle. Winner with the most pieces complete would win the grand prize. In 1964, it was deemed the hardest puzzle in the world and was only 340 pieces then. So now we were staring at a 1,000-piece edition, and my first thought was, why in the world would someone pick not only a 1,000-piece puzzle, but a super difficult one? I noticed something familiar started to rise in me when I come in with one plan and clearly see that plan isn't going to happen. I got a little quiet and started to sift through the thoughts and emotions happening in my body as we started to sift through each piece that looked very much like the next. We had a strategy, sure. One person does the ends while the other flips all the pieces and separate by color. Every hour, our MC would announce a 5-minute break. I'd step out in the sun, stretch my back, shoulders, and neck. I'd sip some water. And after a couple hours, it was very clear we wouldn't be finishing the puzzle. And I noticed the feelings of impatience and frustration arise with each passing thought. My guard was down. The initial enthusiasm and commitment to show up was weathered, and I was left with the real feelings underneath. I went in with the goal to complete the puzzle first, and when that was no longer available, what then? Who do I become when resistance shows up in my life? And what would happen if I leaned into the uncomfortable emotions and get curious about it rather than the usual feeling of annoyance, frustration, impatience, and thoughts of overwhelm? Could I suspend judgment of how I think things should look versus acceptance of what actually is? I think asking questions is sometimes more important in moments than answering them. We didn't finish the puzzle, not even close. In fact, we didn't even finish 1/8 of it. But the 3 of us showed up true to ourselves and to each other. We stayed focused. We encouraged each other with each piece we put together, and those moments were few and far in between. We stayed searching for each elusive piece until the end, and we never gave up. I'll remember our hurried hands reaching for that one last piece to connect to the next during my mom's countdown to the time being up. And after scouring each table to see who had finished the most pieces, we were clearly the winners. It's a story we'll all get to tell and talk about for probably a while, and definitely next year's Puzzle-thon, if people come back. In my case, it'll be, I once did a Puzzle-thon for 6 hours and didn't even finish 1/4 of it. Ridiculous. I'll remember the wonder window where I got to sit with my mom and work next to her, listening to her humor and watching her ability to pivot and make the best out of any situation, even if it's a frustrating puzzle. If I wanted to answer the questions about who I become when resistance about how things should be shows up, I'd say honest when I'm at my best. Honest with the parts of me that feel uncomfortable and the other parts that still want to be present and open with what is. I'd say it's about staying even when I want to leave and see what happens when I allow room for all of it.